Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you our Ranger Cleric Multiclass Build Guide in Baldur's Gate 3. What's interesting about this is it does not only crowd control good amounts of damage, but it can also heal. And I'm going to be showing you a very interesting build. I haven't seen anyone else go this route with it, so I'll be starting off as the Ranger here. So we're going to take a... We'll start with this, go to level 5 because you get that extra attack, and it's a pretty big power spike. So for our favorite enemy, if you want heavy armor, you can get it really quickly with the Ranger Knight here. So this is going to give us that proficiency in history and heavy armor proficiencies. Now, I actually think that's better to go with medium armor for the purpose of this, and certain cleric builds will also give us heavy armor. So it's not necessary that you need to get that right off the bat, but I like going with the Bounty Hunter. This gives you proficiency, or it gives enemies disadvantage on their saving throw on Ensnaring Strike, which is going to be a good source of damage for us. The Beast Tamer is pretty decent too. It gives you a free Find Familiar, which is awesome because this spell is great for just taking aggro from the team. And you can get the Wasteland Wanderer Fire if you want for fire resistance. But now our ability scores, this is where it's interesting because we got to split between a few different stats. So we want to ideally have our wisdom up to 16. That's going to be our spellcasting modifier for both the ranger and the cleric. There's a bit of synergy there. Now, for the rest of our stats, something like putting our constitution up to 14. Ideally, we'll take our dexterity down to like 16, unless you're using the hag's hair to take it up to 18. And I'd put the rest of the points into charisma or something like that. Now, for our skills, typically that's pretty fine. If you want to put animal handling, it's fine too, but animal handling could be covered with speak with animals. So if you got potions, it makes animal handling kind of useless. But I'll be going through the gear at the end of this video. I'll be going through all the leveling here now. So the ranger itself, we're going to go with all the way to level 5. We do get a fighting style at level 2, which is nice. I think that the defense is a great one to go with. But if you want to increase your ranged weapon attack rolls, it won't increase damage, but it'll give you a +2 to attacks. That archery is pretty good. We could even get away with dueling because I'm going to be using a shield for this build. So we'll go with defense because the +1 armor class is actually really good early on in the game. As for our selected spells, Ensnaring Strike, since we took the proficiency in it, this does use your bonus action as well as your action, but it can possibly ensnare their target, and they'll have disadvantage on that saving throw. Hail of Thorns is a pretty decent damage option as well, so we'll go with that, but you could go with Long Strider to give yourself increased movement speed. The increased movement speed works really well on any class, but you can have someone at camp apply that to everyone for you, so you don't even have to take it. We're going to go with Hunter's Mark for this next selection because this gives you an additional 1 to 6 damage whenever you hit an enemy with a weapon attack. And our subclass, I think the Gloomstalker is the best choice here. The Hunter and the Beast Master don't come online until level 11, and then that doesn't let us multiclass. But if we throw in the Gloomstalker, we get a lot of nice bonuses that we can then change into the Cleric with. So Dread Ambusher gives us +3 to initiative, which is huge. You want to be moving first, obviously, in Baldur's Gate, but this will also give us an additional 3 meters of movement speed on our first turn, and we can make an attack that deals an additional 1d8 damage, so that's nice. We also get Superior Dark Vision, giving us the ability to see in the dark up to 24 meters. We also get the Dread Ambusher Hide, which is pretty much just a cunning action, and then we also get the Umbral Shroud and a free Disguise Self. It's pretty nice. As we get to level 5, that's going to be when we switch into the Cleric. At level 4, we get ourselves a feat. I would recommend taking the Wisdom up because we're going to be casting a little bit of spells here, and it's just important to have a high spellcasting modifier. Now, level 5 gives us the extra attack, and we get a Misty Step, so nice little addition there. As for level 2 spells, I think a Spike Growth is probably the best choice there. This is crowd control. Places a straight piece of ground and hard spikes. Movement's halved, and they take piercing damage for every 1.5 meters that they move. So nice little additional piercing damage that you can apply, and you can even get you can apply vulnerabilities to that damage that can be doubled up to 16 damage, which is nice. So we'll go with that for our level 5, and then we'll go into the Cleric. Now, there's a few choices you can go with for the Cleric I'll talk about. So adding in the Cleric here, you could go Nature Cleric for the ultimate, like, synergy. I just don't really like the Nature Cleric a whole lot. They do give you heavy armor proficiencies in Shillelagh, which Shillelagh is actually really good here. But I think that the best choices would be Tempest, War, or Light Domain. I'll go briefly over each of these options and what they bring to the table. So Light Domain will give us fire spells. It also gives us Warding Flare. So shield yourself, use your reaction, impose disadvantage on the attacker, possibly causing their attack to miss. So Warding Flare is huge because disadvantage on an attack is one of the best things you can apply to the enemy. That means they have to roll 2 die, and they take the lower result to hit you with. So you're going to be missing a lot of it, or getting missed by a lot of attacks that way. The Light Domain can also apply that later on at level 6 to your team. And they get Firewall at level 7. So if you like fire spells, go Light Domain. The War Domain will give us bonus action attacks, and we get 3 of them at level 1. And then as you get up to the higher levels, you can get 4 and 5 of them. So that bonus action attack's really nice, but there is something we're going to want to be using our bonus action for. So I'm going to take the Tempest, because this gives us Thunderwave. It's a nice pushback spell. But we also get the Wrath of the Storm as a reaction strike back an attacking creature, dealing 2 to 16 lightning damage, which can be doubled with Create Water, which we can take right here. So I'm going to go with the Tempest, because I think that this ends up being the strongest version of it from what I've tested. The Light Domain is probably second place, and third is the War Domain. I really like War Domain, but we're going to want to use our bonus action for something else. So I'll get into that once we get over to gear. As for our spells, you need command to take command. This commands a creature to flee, move closer, freeze, drop to the ground, or drop its weapon. So we can use this, and we can do some pretty cool stuff with it. I'll get into this once we get to the gear. We want to take this and hold person. Healing Word gives us a bonus action heal, which can revive down teammates. Create Water for lightning shenanigans. Sanctuary just for that oh crap button. And then our final spell will take probably Bless. You should always have someone with Bless. But Guiding Bolt can be okay. We're just going to go with Bless though. Now we're going to be somewhat of a mixed martial class alongside a spellcaster. At level 2 we get the Destructive Wrath. When you roll lightning damage, you can use your Channel Divinity to deal maximum damage instead. Sorry about that. So if you had, let's say, Chain Lightning, which deals maximum 80 damage, you can make it hit that maximum damage. So anytime you see a lightning spell, it's going to do its maximum amount of damage with our Destructive Wrath, which is incredibly powerful. As for our prepared spell that we'll take at next level, probably Guiding Bolt. But what's nice about that is we get the ability to deal crazy amounts of damage. We also get Shatter at our next level, which is not a bad spell on Gust of Wind, but we won't be using those too much. I recommend at our next level taking... You need Hold Person. Hold Person and Command are kind of the two major pieces of this build, but Spiritual Weapon's awesome because you can drop that down on the ground and it just attacks for you. It has 20 health. It's a pretty good spell overall. A lot of these spells, like Protection from Poison, Warding Bond, and Aid, you can have someone at camp apply this to everyone on your team, so you don't have to take it. We get ourselves another feat here too. We'll take Light, Produce Flame, because it gives you a light, and it can also deal damage, fire damage, which is okay. We don't have much fire damage options with this Cleric. And for our next spell, maybe I'll throw back on Guiding Bolt. Not ideal, but it's at least something there. And then for our spell, or for our feat, Warcaster is really good, gives you advantage on saving throws to hold concentration on spell, and a Shocking Grasp reaction. And that Shocking Grasp actually worked really well here, because we're going to focus a little bit on lightning damage. I do think, personally, though, an ability improvement is awesome here. So, we can go with Dexterity or Wisdom. If you had the Hags here, you would be able to get your Dexterity up to 20, just by one ability improvement, so that could be an option for you, but we're going to do that because it's going to give us increased armor class and initiative. At level 5, we get Destroy Undead, and we also get Call Lightning, which is a great option for us for damage. And we get our level 3 spells, and you know what that means. Spirit Guardians time, so we obviously want that one. I would also recommend taking like Mass Healing Word, and at next level we'll take Glyph of Warding. So there's a reason for taking this. I'll get into it once we go over to gear, because there's actually a lot of really good gear for this build that can really turn the tide. Now, we get Lightning Bolt Strike. When you deal lightning or thunder damage to a creature that's larger or smaller, you can push it up to 3 meters. Nice. We like that. I'm going to take Glyph of Warding, because we can set down a lightning glyph on the ground on top of our Create Water. It's pretty good. I also like the Animate Dead, because having ghouls around can help out, and since we don't have like a ranger's pet, it can kind of help fill that void. But at max level, or level 7 here, we get ourselves Ice Storm, which is nice, and Freedom of Movement. And then for our prepared spell, I'd recommend taking the Guardian of Faith. Reason being is this is just a summon. It can attack enemies. It has 60 health. It'll deal 20 damage. It loses 20 damage every time it attacks. Pretty nice though, so we'll go with that for our ability scores. Now, the gear is where this build all comes together, because what we can do, so we got a 29 armor class, which is awesome. So 17 from armor, 4 plus dexterity, 3 from shield, ring of protection, evasive shoes, cloak of protection, etc. We got the helmet there. So the helmet of Baldur, cloak of protection, evasive shoes, and ring of protection all gives us +1 armor class. I'm using the armor of agility as our full dexterity modifier. You can use like the armor of persistence, but you will lose armor class from that because we get more from our dexterity, and we don't have disadvantage on stealth checks, so we can stealth with this, and that's a really big piece of it. The Helm of Baldur will heal us for 2 at the start of turn of combat, which will actually apply our Aegis Palms, the Blade Ward, as well as our Bless here. So when you heal a creature, it gets a 1d4 attack roll and saving throws. And the Reviving Hands gives us Blade Ward. So this actually counts if we have there's even a healing ring that will proc both of these on ourselves. So every single turn in combat, we're going to consistently have Blade Ward taking half physical damage and having a +1d4 to our attack rolls and saving throws. So we're actually pretty tanky here. The Cloak of Protection, +1 armor class. I'm going to take this off, though, the Ring of Protection. I think the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel actually works best here. So after hitting a creature with a weapon attack, you can cast illusion or enchantment spells as a bonus action. So what does that mean? So we can go in, do our 2 attacks as a ranger. So that's pretty good. But then on top of it, we can cast Command as a bonus action. And this can be upcast, too. We have a level 5 spell, which lets us target 4 people, or 5 people. So that's really nice. And then we also have Hold Person, which can connect with 4 people with our upcast. So yeah, that is huge. We can attack twice and still do our crowd control. We also have our spiritual weapon, which is a really nice thing to have up, so you can spawn that in. They are all pretty useful. The 20 health out of tanks is pretty nice. But as I said, Mass Healing Word, you're going to see we all get ourselves Bless and Blade Ward for 2 turns. So really nice. We don't even have to apply Bless to the team. We can just heal our team with a bonus action, apply it to everyone, or ourselves will get it every single turn. So that's really nice. We also have good crowd control. Like we got Spike Growth here. Hunter's Mark is a nice one because you can apply that to an enemy and attack twice, and it deals additional piercing damage. Plus, we're using a weapon that causes vulnerability to piercing damage, so it'll take even further damage. So main hand only, exploit weakness. Creatures hit with this receive vulnerability to piercing damage. So you can go and stab them, Misty Step away, and shoot at them. And use your critical, or use your Hold Person to keep them in place. As for our for our crossbows, I recommend go with the hand crossbows. And taking the Hellfire hand crossbow, because this gives burning whenever you're invisible and you attack the target. And then this deals an additional 1 to 4 piercing damage on them. So we can stealth pretty well in this. So what's nice about the Gloomstalkers, they can go into this dread ambush or hide state, or you can start off combat by attacking like that. We also get the Umbral Shroud, which is kind of nice. Call Lightning's a decent spell if we want to cast lightning damage, but I would recommend pairing this alongside a Storm Sorcerer, because you can set up some pretty nice lightning damage, like the Glyph of Warding Lightning there. You can also use the Destructive Wrath there, which is kind of cool, but Destructive Wrath is going to give us max lightning damage on our Call Lightning, so if you have Water set up, that'll guarantee 60 damage from Call Lightning, which is kind of nice. And we have 2 Channel Divinity charges, so if you have enemies grouped together, you can hit them with the Call Lightning, and then on top of that, you can make it so that it deals the maximum amount of damage. So just a little example of it here. It's not going to ding for any damage, and it doesn't actually count as hitting her, but yeah, you do 60 damage there, which is incredible. The Guardian of Faith is also an interesting, because we can put the global vulnerability around him, and then he'll continue to attack people, and he won't lose his health. He loses 20 health every time he attacks, but he won't if he's in a global vulnerability. We also have Sleet Storm for it does take concentration, but it breaks other people's concentration, so if you need to break a lot of concentrations, you can plop that down. We also get Ice Storm, which is nice just to have for extra damage and creating surfaces, but yeah, you can continually Call Lightning, which is kind of nice. If you wanted to go more spellcasting route, you can do that, but we got Misty Step, so we can get in close, we can stab people, and then we can jump away, you can ensnare them. We got lots of options for crowd control and damage, so it's a pretty powerful build. Overall, you got lots of great options for damage. We got kind of a jack of all trades type build, and we all use wisdom for our spellcasting modifier. So that is a Ranger Cleric build guide for Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below, and I'll see you all in the next video.